Hi, how are you doing? This is Greg Van Kirk, and I'd just like to spend a few minutes here walking you through the Equitable Access Map. This is for conversations focused on understanding how solutions are or aren't creating access. A tool that I developed several years ago that I just find really helpful in analyzing current solutions and maybe your own solution and trying to figure out how to make improvements to create more equitable access, which is what this is all about here, to then be able to get to adoption. So if you look at the top, this is a situation analysis tool. And currently right now in Toolkit 3, human-centered and systems mapping might depend on obviously which certificate you're working with. So I want to go through, as you see, about this tool at the top as always. And then down below, how to use this tool. You've got the video walkthrough, which you have here. Here's the tool itself, which I'll go through in a moment after going through the about this tool. I'll walk you through in my own words, which will reflect obviously how to use this tool. And then we'll look through the engagement role guidance briefly of how you can apply this to what you're doing. So about this tool, your goal is to help empower people to have equitable access to solutions that will help them solve their problems and improve their lives. This requires taking context into account and recognize that each person, group, and our community lives and works in different circumstances and in different ways. This equitable access map tool should help you and your team analyze if and where barriers to equitable access exist with current solutions and brainstorm about ways to create more equitable access where needed. This tool includes the following 14 factors to consider. Appropriateness. Is the solution age, gender, and culturally appropriate? For example, right? If it's not appropriate in these ways, it may not actually be equitably accessible. It may not be accessible. People may not want it or use it or be able to get it. Attractiveness. Nobody wants or deserves an ugly solution, even though it might work. Function and form matter, right? For example, just because I have less economic resources than someone else doesn't mean I want something ugly. I want something just as attractive and dignified as everyone else. Available. If a solution isn't within reasonable reach, it may as well not exist. Awareness. If people aren't aware of the problem, let alone the solution, then it isn't accessible. Complexity. Increased complexity results in increased inaccessibility, right? Complexity is one of the major factors. Think about the complex healthcare system, for example, that makes things inaccessible. Cost. Is it too expensive or too cheap, right? If things are too quote unquote cheap, people will think they're low quality and won't actually want to purchase them, right? You want to make them inexpensive. Dependability. Can you count on the solution consistently? Design. Is it designed for the intended audience, right? All the different factors of design. Durability. Does the solution last, right? You don't want something that breaks within a day. Ease of acquisition. Do people have to, quote unquote, jump through too many hoops to get access, right? Often comes of people put conditionality all around people getting access to things, right? If you're experiencing homelessness, you've got to do these 25 things and then you'll get a place to sleep, right? Maybe not the best way to approach it. Power, control, who provides and can take away access. Quality, everyone deserves quality, right? You need to have a quality solution. Service, is service required? Does after service or decent customer service exist? Right, often it first happened with solar lamps in African countries when they first came out, is they would break and there was no after service. So it didn't exist and the access was not created anymore. Time investment required. There's only so much time in the day. The greater the time investment required, the more inaccessible. And other, what else should be considered? There may be some really important factors that are not covered here. Add those in on your own. So how to use this tool? Ideally pretty straightforward. So as always, you can, at the top, click here. If you got the PDF, click here or on the tool to access the Google Sheet, make an editable copy. So use this on your own there. You can always, photocopy this as well, or just sort of note it down or put this on a whiteboard, however you're working with your team, with your group, with your community. So at the top, we want to note down the community description. Who is it that we hope to help get equitable access if needed? What's the problem? So what's the overall problem that a solution is looking to solve, right? So for example, if we were looking at water purification and water filters, the problem would be contaminated water, right? We'll get into the access potential problems afterwards, but right now it's just what's the overall problem that a solution is looking to solve for? And what's the current solution? All right, so this may what's out there in the market, so to speak. This could be also not simply a product or a service. It can be a strategy. It can be a program, right? You can analyze any kind of quote unquote solution here. So there's a problem, there's a current solution, and you want to analyze that current solution to see if there's some way that you can improve access or come up with a new idea, or this could also be for your solution to make sure that you're providing equitable access. So on the bottom, on the left-hand column at the top, you see access considerations. That's everything that I walked through just in a moment ago in a description of the tool. And then you see at the top to the right of that, you see current solution. Rating starts off, we have ratings in these tools a lot. It forces us to really think. And if we come up with different ratings, it forces conversations about why we have different ratings. So for example, you might start with appropriateness. You can always start wherever you want to, but if you start at the top, start with appropriateness. And rate it. How appropriate is this current solution? 0, totally inappropriate. 5, totally appropriate. Totally passes that test of equitable access. So give that a rating, then give an analysis. Why did you give that rating? Right? You had a reason behind giving the rating, so note that down. And do that for each one of the access considerations, right? And then after you've done with that, and your team, you can do this as a team. You can do it as a team together to begin with, do it individually, then come together as a team to get people perspectives. I prefer that route because it makes sure that everybody first has their own thoughts and perspectives and doesn't fall into groupthink. But once you've gone through all of that, then you're going to look at ideally the solutions with the lowest rating. So for example, in complexity, I might have a 0 because it's really, really complex. And so then I want to go over and talk about ideas for improvements for that one first, right? So ideas for improvements start at the ones that have the lowest ratings and start to ideate about that. And that can help you think about improvements or how to come up with a new solution. So at the bottom, you see there's a blank space if you want to add something. Again, this is a Google Sheet. You can go and change it and add it however you'd like. And then our engagement role guidance. So how to use this if, for example, you are hands-on. So one option might be to analyze the program solution being offered by the organization you're working with. You could also analyze program solutions being offered to community members or clients by other organizations trying to address the same or similar issues, right? This can be other organizations trying to solve the same problem, either collaborators or competitors, what have you. Consulting, use this tool to help the organization team and our project team that you're consulting for focus on creating equitable access, right? You might use this to analyze existing programs, solutions, and or as a checklist of sorts for the program or solution that you're recommending. As with all these tools, this can be one of your final deliverables, a great one, I think. Innovating, use this to analyze existing solutions so that you can decide your value proposition of your innovation. Where are the most important improvements in equitable access needed for the people you hope to support with your solution, right? So this helps you to figure out what are the features, the benefits that we want to have within our innovation to help improve equitable access. So hopefully you find that helpful. I find this a really helpful tool. It's going to take maybe a little bit longer than some of the other tools, but certainly well worth the investment and help you really home in on where it is that you can step in to be supportive. As always, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or comments or concerns or want any support or want to collaborate. That's what I'm here for. So apart from that, all the best and have a wonderful day.